is Aventuria, das Steinerne Schiff. It is an expansion for the Aventuria card game, which is also available, at least the base set is also available in English. And it's based on the Dark Eye, Das Schwarze Auge role-playing game. And I featured a lot of Das Schwarze Auge on my channel. The problem is that, you know, the games that I'm playing are always played in German, so I know that this excludes over 1,000 of my subscribers, obviously, because you don't speak German. And I've been asked to do more content in English, and I may actually be able to present you something in English, namely a playthrough of a short TDE adventure. But in the meantime, let's take a look at this. Now, this is an expansion. The problem is I don't have the base game. That's due to the vagaries of the postal system. The base game is still somewhere in transit, and I got the expansion anyway. So what we will do is we will just unbox this anyway. So this is Das Steinerne Schiff, the Ship of Stone, which also contains the Forest of No Return and the Ship of Lost Souls. Apparently the Ship of Lost Souls is also available independently, but this is basically an all-in-one box. So we will open this, and of course this is a card game. And it can be played in one of two ways. It can either be played opposed, where it's really like two characters going head to head, each of them having different abilities. The character types are quite different. You will have the archetype, you know, the fighting dwarf, the mage. I don't know if there are clerics in there. I know that there is one expansion where you can play a witch. And basically how this works is that each of these has a deck of cards which are unique to this character and which basically correspond to the abilities of the character. So a mage would have spells and so on and so forth, and you basically play them and try to kill the other character. So it's like a player versus player, kill them all. So let's see, sturdy box. I actually like the let's just take one more look at the box. So this is probably a werewolf. This definitely is a woman from Torval, and this is some foe that she's fighting, and we will see what happens. So what we see first is a book that contains okay, so we have two decks that should come with this game, and we would be able to at least demo the player versus player. It also tells you that you've got new rules. And here is the adventure. It's Act 1 and 2 and 3 of The Forest of No Return. Then we have a short adventure called Bounty. Another short adventure called Madness in Salem. And then another adventure, The Ship of Lost Souls, Act 1, 2, and 3. And one short adventure called Ritold's Treasure, and then an expert adventure, whatever that means. Okay, it says that expert adventures contain complex special rules, blah, blah, blah. And so in order to be able to play this, they recommend that you play the other adventures first. And that one's called The Ship of Stone. And here, of course, we have a lovely part of the map of Aventuria. So, yeah, so you have plenty of stuff in here. Now, in the new version, apparently, in the old version, they used to have... so these are ships. In the old version, you used to have little life counters for the heroes, which don't exist anymore, but that's fine. So they would have operated pretty much like the counters that you have, the Doom counter, for example, for Lord of the Rings, and you can pretty much do without them, because it is always possible to actually use a die or just a piece of paper and a pen. So let's just take a look at the okay, so let's see. The cards feel thin, but they have a nice finish. So you've got plenty of, you've got 5 decks of cards. All with different backs, so when you sleeve them you need to ensure that you either use clear sleeves or you use different backed sleeves to be able to tell them apart easily. Okay, so these are cards that are based on each different adventures. This is the Forest of No Return, so this is a weapon. This is for the Bounty adventure. This is Madness in Salem. Here we've got our first, if you like, fiend. It's a demonic owl. So thieving giant bat, another one. Rabied wolf. Normal wolf, flock of bats, flock of rats, pack of wolf rats, all kinds of creepy crawlies. Oh, this is definitely, yeah. And then it says here, this is a shapeshifter that is already damaged, and of course it doesn't have a shape, so it's just a question mark. I like that idea. Yeah, so these are obviously fiends. Okay, and these are different cards. They seem to have to do with stuff that can happen to you. Cave in, dust cloud, tentacle attack, gargoyle, infected wound, necromancy. So yeah, okay. So this is also Steinerne Schiff, Ship of Stones. These are adventure related ones. So these are our heroes. So this is one of them, Hilbert aus Auen. He's an ordained of Pereine. So that's an interesting goddess because she's actually the goddess of growth and life. You know, plants and that kind of thing. And it basically tells you his talents and also. It tells you what kind of cards he can have in his deck. So that's a lot. That reminds me a lot of the adventure card game, the Pathfinder adventure card game, where you also have heroes and they have certain things that they can have and other things that they can't have. That kind of. I mean, I guess when you play as many games as us gamers do, it's quite difficult to come across a mechanic. That you've never seen before. You know, it's all been done before, but that's not a bad thing. So here's our other hero. And here we've got stuff that they can wear. So these all go together. These are all henchmen. So put this aside. These are event cards. And here we've got cards that basically go with the relevant heroes. PG, that would be him. He's a, so basically this would be his card deck, his named card deck. These are also fiends. Ship of Lost Souls. Okay, so I mean we'll have to sort this out once we get the actual base game. So here's the last one. We've got TK, that's her. Torvala Kämpferin, I assume. This is now all Forest of No Return. Okay, so the way this works is that each of them has a number of cards. So that would be 10, 14, 18, 24. How many cards? It sounds like a lot. Okay, so each of them gets 56 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 31, 29, 30, and that should be 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. So, So essentially how this works is each person has their deck. Of 30 cards. And since I don't know what their basic hand is, let's just assume it's 6 cards. So these cards all have a cost. So in that, it's a lot like deck building games. In that, if you want to use this card, you have to pay its cost. And how you pay for them is by actually submitting cards that will not return to pay for them. So you have 6, or I think you may even just have 5, and then you draw 2 more as your starting hand. So you have 7. And of these, you can commit 2 as endurance cards. They are put face down, and for these 2, you can activate 1 card, play 1 card, and then later on activate if that's required, to put this down. So let's say I decide that these 2 are going to be my endurance cards. I put them face down. So I've got 2 cards to the side. They're my endurance cards. Like so. They usually don't come back. And then I can say, okay, I'm going to I'm going to play this card. This card would allow me to get a card back from my discard pile. So I've paid for it. Now I can't use it because I don't have endurance left. Same over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus 2, 7. What kind of cards does she have? She has dexterity plus 2, which means that she gets plus 2 for ranged combat. Now her ranged combat is 10, so she would then have a ranged combat of 12, but she already does 13 with her melee. So it could be that this is interesting when you play in an adventure against enemies that are of different range, but here it wouldn't really come into play. So let's see what she's got. So this is a throwing dagger. It costs her 1 to put it down, and she needs to use 1 to use it, and then she gets a ranged attack with 1 d6 plus 1 damage. Now, combined with this, she would be rolling for 12, so she needs to roll under, because she has 2 dexterity, and then she would do 1d6 plus 1 damage. On her normal melee, she does 1d6. But she can't deploy both of these cards because she can only put aside 2 cards. So what you would do is, this one is very interesting to her, but it costs her 3 because it gives her plus 3 melee. So what you have to do is you have to basically look at your cards and make a decision when you're going to say, okay, I'm not going to use this card because it's going to be too expensive. So for example, this one here is a very expensive card. It's going to cost her 5 endurance. She can only generate 2 endurance on her first turn, on a second turn, on a third turn. So she would be looking to get quite a lot of endurance. So for a long time, she would just be putting down endurance cards. But this allows her to do a melee attack for 1d6 plus 5, so she will do a minimum damage of 6, but it's going to take her a long time to get there. So this is essentially how this game works. You have to make a decision what kind of cards you're going to commit, and they will be gone pretty much forever. I mean, apparently there is a way to get them back, but not usually. And keep the ones that you will be using, and then bring them down, and then later on activate them. So this is how this game works. And like I said, I mean, I don't have the base game, so I don't have the basic rules, so I can't really play it at the moment. But as soon as I have the basic rules, I will, of course, play it. And I will do a playthrough because I really like the Dark Eye, and I find it very sad that I have no idea what these do. +0, +20, 30, 40, no idea what this is supposed to do. But her base stats... Oh, it doesn't even say what her life is. Weird. +0, +10, plus... yeah. So maybe they've all got 40 life. Could be it. So essentially this is how this game works when you play opposed, and it is definitely recommended that in order for you to learn combat, because the combat is the same regardless of if you play player versus player or if you play against the Adventures, which is solo cooperative, that you use this mechanic and play 2 or 3 opposed, in inverted commas, games just to get used to how the cards operate. And that's definitely what I'm going to do, and that's definitely what I'm going to showcase. But of course the meat of what I want to show you is the Adventures. So of course we have lots of little... So I think between the base set and this you would have 6 heroes to choose from. And that's a sizable amount, because first of all, if you were going to play opposed, I don't think you can probably... I mean, 6 people in a party is actually probably going to be too much. I don't know if that would be supported by the game. But you have a nice selection, because one thing I can say is that in the Dark Eye, since it is very low fantasy, it is... that was my cat. He's fine though. The different archetypes are indeed very, very different. There is no such thing as multi-classing. And for example, in the different magic schools, you can't just take magic from somebody else, and you don't usually share spells. I mean, there are some that are shared between different types of magic users, but usually each one of them has their own thing, because they all derive their magic from a different source, and that is actually adhered to, especially when I play, because I mean, it's like that in the rules set, and of course you can always go, oh yeah, I'm going to make my own rules, but in that case I'm old school. If you're a witch, then your magic is so different from the magic of a mage that you simply cannot ever get the same type of magic that they use. Okay, so that's the unboxing of this game. It's called Aventuria, das Steinerne Schiff, Sammelbox, Wald ohne Wiederkehr, Schiff der verlorenen Seelen. I don't think that this is available in English, and I doubt that it will be translated, but I will definitely do a playthrough in English, or 10. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.